Hello guys, my name is Febriyan Mustar, and in this video I will talk about Society 5 5.0. Number 1, how we approach Society 5.0. The schema of Society 5.0. The basic schema of Society 5.0 is the data are collected from the real world and processed by computers, with the result being applied in the real world. When people use term information society, they mean a society in which each of these systems collects data, process them, and then applies the result in a particular real world environment. Merging cyberspace and physical space. Cyberspace refers to a digital space in which real-world data are collected and analyzed to deserve solution. The term was coined to describe an imaginary or virtual area where swathes of raw data are freely accessed and converted into useful information, which can then be shared with others. The infrastructure of this space is very vast array of computer networks. However, in this case of Society 5.0, cyberspace doesn't just mean a space of exchanging vast volume of data. It also means a space created by computers network for analyze problems and modeling practical, real-world solutions. When the computer system of Society 5.0 analyze raw real-world data, they must do so using a structure that mirrors the data physical world. What then is a physical space? A physical space refers to the real data from which raw data are collected and into which solutions are applied. Some might interpret real world to mean everything that's it real, including computer systems, and hence the government literature adopt the descriptor physical to delineate this space from cyberspace toward a people-centric society. It is through the mechanism described above that Society 5.0 will become a people-centric society. The vision of society that Society 5.0 described requires us to think about two kinds of relationships. The relationship between technology and society, and the technology mediate relationship between individuals and society. Number 2, merging cyberspace with physical space. Modeling real-world issues. Cyberspace is the electronic world inside computers. Data from the physical space or real world are analyzed in cyberspace so as to derive solutions for managing or improving society. When these solutions are implemented in physical space or real world, The outcomes are evaluated, which generates data. This data is then input back into cyberspace for analysis, and if there are any problems, further solution will be delivered. This cycle hereby society is continuously adjust and improve. Is that society 5.0 it's all about. To derive solution of physical space or real world, cyberspace must have a structure mirroring that of the real world. Once this cyber model is established, the system can estimate how the best to condition the room and then implement to this strategy in the physical space or real world. Understanding how surfaces are interconnected. When the convergence comes to violation, models that had until then been generated separately in each system will become interconnected in cyberspace. Consequently, we will come to see how the different surfaces interconnected. We rely on many types of surface, including those related to energy, transport, water, healthcare, public security, distribution, retail, education, and entertainment. It may appear that each surface is separate, but they are in fact interconnected. To build a better society, we must learn to see how surfaces interconnected and devise solutions accordingly. Accumulating and sharing knowledge. Surfaces are now not the only thing that can be linked in cyberspace. Cities can be linked with other cities, and societies with other societies. By modeling a car, a city, or society in cyberspace and link it with other cities or societies, it will be possible to explore existing knowledge. As I mentioned previously, cyberspace originally meant imaginary or virtual space where in fact some of raw data are freely and broadly accessed and converted into meaningful information, which then gets shared among or viewed by different users. As also mentioned previously, the infrastructure upon which cyberspace exists in the vast array of computer networks. This computer network enable information and knowledge to be shared without the resistance of the time and space. This accumulating and sharing of knowledge is the original purpose of cyberspace. Accumulating and sharing knowledge. There are many ways in which cyberspace could facilitate the accumulation and sharing of knowledge. In addition to model and analyze phenomena in physical space or real world. For example, if a multi-company success in becoming a super smart society, the knowledge behind the success can be applied the very next day in other multiplicationally situated far away. Then, some decades later, the knowledge can be used overseas in a country that is less economically developed. In this section, we discuss what the merging of cyberspace and physical space, or real world, means in the context of Society 5.0. We'll discuss how cyberspace can help us link together real-world phenomena so as to create a new value. The merging refers to the process of gathering raw data from the physical space or real world, using the data to derive models in cyberspace, and interactively improving these models. Knowledge-intensive society. In the knowledge-intensive society, we know that data, information, and knowledge. Generally, we know that data refers to tangible and intangible phenomena in the physical space or real world that are represented as numerical values, states, names, or binary figures, or 0 or 1, telling us whatever a thing is present or absent. Informational is data that has been rendered meaningful by selecting and processing it for a particular purpose or as a part of a course of action. And then, what is a knowledge-intensive society? The data become useful to us once we convert it to information and then into knowledge. Hereditary, this conversation process has been driven by human-computer interaction. In Society 5.0, the process will be driven without human intervention of the three elements. Humans will only gain greater opportunities to access AI-derived knowledge, and the final output of the conversation is a process. How will this change affect society? New knowledge will arise when data and information are deployed interconnectedly. New knowledge can spark innovation in tertiary industries, such as service, but it will also do so in the more traditional primary and secondary industries, such as agriculture and manufacturing. Rules and norms in the knowledge-intensive society. In the coming knowledge-intensive society, technology will play a critical role in building information. Integration architecture, architecture that enable data to be collected, synthesized, synthesized and then integrate with information in heterogeneous fields. At the same time, however, we must establish rules and norms governing how we approach data. Data produced must uphold certain rules and standards of conduct, and those who analyze or use data must be sufficient data literate. Information literacy. What about the people who analyze and use data? One of the top tasks in relation of Society 5.0 is to ensure that such individuals are literate in personal data and information. Data-driven society. We should know what is the data-driven society. The term featured in the literature even before Society 5.0 was proposed. For example, it appeared in a 2015 report of the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, or MATI, Industrial Sector Council, or Ministry of Economy on 2017. This report defined a data-driven society as a society where the above-mentioned CPS apply to various industrial societies to digitalization and networking of things using IoT, and digitalized data is converted into intelligence and applied to the real world, and then the data occur at value and move the real data well. In this questionnaire, intelligence quotes with the information and knowledge discussed in the previous section. And more simply, the data-driven society is a society where data are gathered by IoT network are converted into information and knowledge, which then drive, or as the literature says, move the real world. As accurate as this definition may be, it may still leave renders not improved. The previous section described the relation between data, information, and knowledge, but this doesn't give us a clear picture of how data drives in the real world. In the data-driven society, however, the data available would be staggering in volume and birth rate, and be real-time data to boot. Technology allows you to monitor the traffic flows across the city as a whole in real time. Industry 5.0, 4.0, and Society 5.0. We should know what was Industry 4.0. Industry 4.0 was a national strategic and initiative led by the Ministry of Education and Research, or BMBF, and the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Energy, or BMWI. Industry 4.0 heralds the next stage of industrialization. As many readers will know, Japanese manufacturers already use robotics and sensor technology, and many processes are automated. The key difference between the third or fourth industrial revolution is that the latter use data in a manner that surpass traditional manufacturing frameworks. In the past, data related to the use of product, for example, would be abandoned upon the sale of the product. In the fourth stage of industrialization, however, manufacturers continue to get greater this data after the products are sold. This practice allows manufacturers to identify latent needs from clients, big data, and strengthen their value networks, thereby creating new business opportunities. Another difference of Industry 4.0 is that add value is created through mass customization. In the other world, AI drives customized output, flexibly accommodating the deserved deserved demand. Although Industry 4.0 focus primarily on manufacturing, the scope of this project extends further. The vision requires the establishment of data-related standards and regulation, or as well as the institutional environment necessary for such, which necessitates a collaborative process involving not only core manufacturing industries, such as the auto and electronics industry, but also IT and communication industry, academia, and government. Industry 4.0 wasn't the first project to purpose information integration. And then, what are the main of Industry 4.0 and Society 5.0? There are some differences. However, Industry 4.0 advocates smart factories, while Society 5.0 calls for a super smart society. In addition, although both visions advocate the development of cyber-physical systems, the scope of development differs. In Industry 4.0, CPS in to be deployed in the manufacturing environment, while in Society 4.0, 5.0, that is to be deployed across society as a whole. The two visions also differ in terms of measuring outcome. Industry 4.0 aspires to create new value and minimize manufacturing costs, such down to the earth outcome allow for relatively simple and clear-cut performance metrics. By contrast, Society 5.0 aspires to create a super smart society. The metrics in this case are much more complex. The common issues for both Industry 4.0 and Society 5.0. Accordingly, to ensure that Society 4.0 can solve these dilemmas and create a people-centric society, it is necessary to clarify the target metrics such as society as well as the role that policy and technology should play in achieving them. Industry 4.0, what its vision of smart factories, embrace the manufacturing sector as the main physical space or real world. As for cyberspace, it advanced to a CPS center cyber architecture wherein information is integrated horizontally between different industry and vertically within manufacturing system. On the other hand, the Society 5.0, with its vision of a super smart society, emphasizes society as the main physical space or real world. As for cyberspace, it must strive for a CPS-centered cyber architecture wherein information is integrated horizontally between different service sectors. Example, energy transport, and vertically within the system that track each service user history and attributes, or such as their medical information, consumption behavior, and educational history. It must also achieve solid information security to enable the use of information. And in this case of Society 5.0, one key challenge concerns is how to optimally balance the needs of society with the needs of the individual. Thank you watching this video. Bye bye.